The other guys will not come out. I know this one will come out today now. So people must take down. You see about the let's see. The guy want to have a and we have to turn off. Okay, very good. Cut to the cut. Beautiful.
Best station in music news, sports, and entertainment. We are High Power 102.7 FM, the pride of the people.
A wise man once said, if education is expensive, try ignorance. It is on this note that I welcome you to your most informative, educative, and entertaining program, Education Today. Education Today is a program structured to bring to you to speed on the importance of education, purpose of education, and most importantly, what makes up being educated, and the type of education is acquired or proposing to acquire by herself or our children. Program Education Today is structured on the following orders. First, educational news based on government policies, news from primary schools to tertiary institutions, and trending informations. In the course of bringing you information and news from various height of institutions, we will equally be bringing on board an analyst, a social analyst, that will analyze the policies of government, its effects on government, and its effect on the people, particularly the parents and the students. While the second segment exhibits the beauty of literature. This is a segment where we read to your listening pleasure literature materials on prose, drama, and poetry from both local and foreign publications. Last segment provide the opportunity to our listeners to call in to hear the views and contributions to any topical issues discussed. is on this note that I say welcome on board as we journey down the adventure of this program. My name is AKIN ADEBAYO. Education should go beyond learning theories, but the practical aspect is also very important. So when you go to university, you are holding a certificate. The question is, what does it qualifies you to do? Education should be functional, impactful, knowledge-based, and provides wisdom to sell. So literally, is what we learn in the university, therefore, education that is not relevant to give you the capacity to make the affairs of your life and environment and provide solutions to problems and challenges is not an impactful education. But the education through skills acquisition such as organizing, tailoring, plumbing, electrician, bricklaying, just to mention but a few, provide solutions to challenges or provide and still brings income to the artisan. With these bills are being paid, responsibilities are met, and challenges and problems are solved. It is on this note that I bring to our hearing various news circulating in the educational sector. Like to bring to your information that NECO results has been released, and also that admission is ongoing as the government has approved the release of results for government-owned schools to October 30th, while that of private institutions to commence the admission or release the admission result for November 30th as well. Like I made it to understand in the course of our introduction, that educational news based on government policies would equally be discussed. It is on this note that I equally want to bring to our notice that there has been a change in the curriculum of secondary schools and our technical schools. And it's on this note that we equally discuss or analyze the impact of this change in the curriculum, its positive impact. How is it going to bring about a paradigm shift in the economy of the country? Now, can this new curriculum bring about the much anticipated industrialization of the country compared to what is obtainable in other countries? Like someone will discuss with me. He said, how many professors do we have in China? But as it is now, China is producing for the whole world, which means the curriculum being taught in China has really helped in industrializing the country. Now, we're not going to put side by side the curriculum that we are not having now compared to the one we used to have. How has the curriculum we used to have impacted on the development, the economic, and the industrialization of the country? How could we not put it side by side with the present curriculum on its possibility of bringing about the expected industrialization and development? To bring to our understanding and pleasure is our analyst in person of Mr. Alaba. We say good morning to you, sir.
Good morning, Nigerians. Good morning, IPA 102.7 FM. It is nice to be here once again. Thank you very much.
Mr. Alabadiyemi, once more you're welcome to the program Education Today.
Thank you very much.
Like we rightly said, you are going to enlighten us by virtue of your analysis how the new curriculum, what's going to be the impact on our pupils. Is it going to bring about the industrialization? Because now there has been a kind of introduction, particularly when it comes to the issue of skill acquisition. Like for instance, now we now have tailoring, we now have plumbing, and etc., which we all know is a kind of skill acquisition now being introduced into the school curriculum. The question now is this: how do you think the introduction of this new subject into the curriculum would bring about the much expected economic and industrialization development of the country compared to what is obtainable in China? Because as it is now, China is producing for the world. And like I said the other time, a friend once told me that how many professors do we have in China? compared to the ones we're having back here? And how far as skill acquisition bring about the industrialization of China? That what can be its impact in the new introduced curriculum into our secondary school? Thank you very much.
Yeah. First of all, let me say that I am very happy that the government of the nation is taking proactive steps to see that our education is properly redressed. I'm someone who believes that for a country to develop, it must focus on its education and also ensure that a lot of money is invested in agriculture. It has been the Awolowo's template, and it has been something that I've aligned to, that for any nation to develop, it must first be able to feed itself. That is, you must put money in agriculture, then educate the mind properly, because with feeding, you are building the body, and there's a necessity for the brain to be properly built. So I must thank the government for looking towards that direction and making effort to ensure that such things are introduced. However, I am not extremely optimistic about this, because of the fact that this is not the first time we would see that government of the nation is bringing up new syllabus, trying to change things. But at the end of the day, what about the implementation? How will these plans and programs be implemented? That is what we must talk about now. That is what is important to the average Nigerian now. How will they implement this? Because if you introduce new subjects, who are those who are going to be teaching those subjects? Are the manpower for teaching those subjects available? And if they are available, in what quantity are they available? Are they available? For example, there's a subject that has been introduced in our secondary school where students will be taught how to design and install alternative power supply like solar panel and other things like that. But now, how many of the teachers who are currently in the service of government have been trained to be able to teach others to do the same? How many of such persons that has been trained are available for schools in Ekpimi Akoko, for schools in Ipele, for schools in Alajagusi? How many of such persons are available now? These are the questions that we must ask. We must not allow this syllabus to go the way others have gone, that teachers just have to buy books and are deployed to teach what they can't even do on their own. It is important. That is in the area of technicalities. And I want to also thank the government for taking steps to reintroduce history into our curriculum.
We still come to
history. I am taking an holistic look at everything for now to introduce history into our curriculum. But which history? Who is going to be teaching the history? How many history teachers are still in government? Are still in government service as we speak? How many of them are available for the rural dwellers? You see that I'm still emphasizing on rural dwellers, because in big cities there's high level of internet penetration. It means that even if you don't know the history before, you can use the internet to access videos, to access content that would give you something which you are going to teach. But now, if you teach in a school that is located in an area where there's no power supply, internet is not there, how many of those teachers do we have? Because I remember vividly that there was a time that state government were sacking history teachers in large numbers. I know that in Osun State, during the regime of BC Akande between 1999 and year 2003, thousands of teachers trained to teach history were laid off. Although if they are in service now, they might have retired too. But it must have created a lacuna that if you study history, you are on your own. How many of our institutions are even studying that history now? Because it is not just about saying that this subject exists. For example, auto mechanics has never left WAEC syllabus. It has always been there. But how many secondary schools in our nation teaches auto mechanic? I know somebody who attended St. Michael High School in Akure in the late 80s and early 90s, who became a carpenter by basically learning carpentry in a secondary school. In fact, I asked his brother, where did your brother learn all this work? He could do all tables, chairs, and other. In fact, that is what he does till today. Now said that koko carpentry ri ìwọ̀nba tó kọ́ secondary school ló ń lò. It means that there was a time in this country when some of these things were done in our public schools. That school was not a technical school. But now, how many, we didn't have continuity. How many of those persons who can teach these new subjects are available? Since they introduced this thing now, what are the steps being taken by the government in the federal, at the federal level and at the state level to train the manpowers that will begin to teach this subject? Are you aware that public relations, marketing are taught in our secondary school up to now? How many of the teachers studied marketing? How many of our college of education has a course called marketing education or public relations education? These are the issues that we have. It is good to say, okay, we are doing this again. Everybody claps, and the next moment everybody goes home. We return to the status quo.
Thank you very much, Mr. Alabadi.
Thank you,
like
sir.
I said, I really appreciate the fact that you're able to bring out the lapses, the lacuna in the implementation of these policies. But of course, like we said, this is an educational program. It's very much possible some things might be introduced, but people may not have the full knowledge, the full details of it. That is why back here we are expected to bring about a reasonable level of solution to some certain questions or answers to some certain questions. I'm very, very sure the points you've just raised now, of course, many people have equally been nursing similar anxiety over the implementation of this new curriculum. The question now is this: how do you think? Because as we speak now, no doubt, some government officials might be listening to us, might even be not knowing how to go about it. But now I want to ask you, how do you think we can go about implementing these policies? What do you think can be done? Because we can't just bring out the fault, the demerit in it, the lacunas without providing solutions. So I'm asking you, how do you think government can go about implementing this new curriculum that has just been introduced into our educational sector?
New subjects has just been introduced. There are millions of Nigerian youths who are currently jobless, who will do government teaching job with joy. What does the government need to do? It is not rocket science to govern. What the government needs to do now is to see to it anyone who studied maybe physics and electronics should be able to teach how to install a solar panel. What does the government need to do? We have colleges of education that everybody wants to convert to university by force. In our college of education, let us introduce crash programs, 6-month programs with which we can convert some of those people to teachers. We don't have enough teachers. Nobody should deceive us that we have enough teachers. Currently in Ondo State, recently they said 1,000 or 2,000 persons were employed. Some persons are now claiming that most of those who got letters got fake letters. Who now got the original letters? With that 2,000 introduced into us, this thing, how many schools do we have in Ondo State? On an average, I don't think there's any school that will get 2 of those new teachers. Maybe if you spread them around, maybe 1 each. What are we saying? What we are saying now is that, come on, let us introduce simplified programs with which we can convert those who are already educated but that they are not trained to teach these new subjects.
Okay, in summary, you are now saying that probably those that are already educated, probably OND, HND degree holders.
Degree holders,
probably should now
HND
go for a
holders.
6-month course in college of education that has to do with the technical aspects of what they intend to teach in
do
secondary
not
school.
do not build new schools. simply use the manpower that we have, partner with organizations. For example, the Edo State government can partner with the organization that produce solar panels and say, come and teach the teachers that will teach these things in our school. Employ persons who are qualified to teach that. For example, suddenly one year they introduce a fishery animal husbandry. I don't know of any secondary school in Akure who has a fish pond up till now. So what form of fishery are we teaching? Why not look for somebody who studied fishery at the College of Agric, who already has the practical knowledge? Now organize a crash course for them, maybe in a qualification, to learn education, or ask them, okay, we have selected you, but for you to level up, you would need to do a PGD. The government will pay for your PGD, but there shall be deduction from your salary when you are fully employed. Now let them go and acquire the teaching skill, because somebody who went to college agreed to study fishery only need the teaching skill. He already has his fishery skill. Now return back to our secondary school and teach these things, because it is now illegal for you not to be registered by the TCRN to even teach. So let all those things be taken care by the government. Let us act as if we deliberately want the country to grow. Let those in government act as if truly they are interested in seeing that our children get the best. Their children no longer attend public schools, and that's the problem. We are good on quantity, but we are very terrible on quality now as we speak. So we must come together, figure out the best way to ensure that these new subjects are not just there, sitting there. If you look at subjects taken in WAEC exams, you see all kind of subjects that would have been useful to the public. But the reality today is that those subjects, because those who are teaching them are not even capable to teach them well, even if you do it in secondary school, you don't come out with the best products. So we need to be proactive with these things. So we must spend money on training. How did we have the teachers training school in the Southwest? When the Action Group government in the 50s started free education, the number of schools increased sporadically. We went from 27 secondary schools to over 120 in 4 years. We went, our number of public primary schools exploded. We needed people to teach. So what were they doing? People who just left primary school freshly are now allowed to go to teachers training school, grade 3. They go there. Those schools were built all around. Later we also introduced the secondary modern schools to provide intermediate knowledge. Then when we have trained them, if you have left from teachers grade 3 college, you can go back to the same primary school you left and teach 1, 2, 3 in primary 1. Jabi Bata in primary 1. Now the guy who has been to teachers grade 2 can teach maybe primary 2 or primary 3. The guy who had maybe HSC can now teach maybe primary 4. That was how we were able to build this lasting legacy that a lot of persons have now come to destroy. So what do we do now? We need to retrain, to train and retrain. Train those who are in service, who have years in service. Train them, and also retrain those people who have been trained, who have just entered the service now. But I am saying that we would be needing new hands who are already skilled in that field. That is what we need to do now. We cannot fold our hands and begin to clap because subjects have been introduced on papers. We need to ask who will be teaching them.
Thank you very much, Mr. Alaba. Please, our esteemed listeners, we want to go on break. After the break, we will please join us back. Thank you very much. welcome back. This is still your program, Education Today. Like you rightly said, is a program structured to bring about news, events, and also room for analysis. In the same manner, we equally expect our listeners to put a call through. That is, if they want to ask any question on any issues being discussed here. The phone line is 081 655 24699. Once more, 081 655 24699. That is the studio line. Usually, please, you can be putting your calls through now to ask questions from our guest today. So, Mr. Alaba, like something is going on. Something happened last week or thereabout, whereby some people protested that they were given fake employment letter. I would like to ask, what do you think could have led to the issuance of fake employment letter, which we term to be job racketeering? What could have led to that?
There is no sufficient transparency. It's as basic as that. Don't let anybody gloss anything. There is no sufficient transparency. If the names is available for the public to see everywhere, the numbers are not being shifted. We know that if we know that exactly 1,000 has been employed, and even I, who is a journalist, can access the 1,000 on a particular page without using any pin to access it. Nobody would give you a fake letter. You will see your name there. If you are my wife and you said the Ondo State government has employed you, you are one of the new teachers, and I can find the name on the internet, I will simply go and find the name. Is that not how people are recruited into the army? Is it possible to get a fake recruitment into the army? Put the name in the public. You have employed 20 people. Okay. When people are appointed as commissioners, how do you get to know? You see the name in the public. You are able to tell Mr. Lagbaja has been appointed, Tamedo has been appointed. If Lakase now comes to you and say he is appointed as a commissioner, you say, I saw the press release, your name no dey there. It is because, see, Nigerians retained, despite the availability of the internet, we retain certain things because we still don't want to be transparent. Why are many companies in Nigeria still using paper receipts, handwritten receipts? It's because of fraud. Because now, if I make payments through my bank account, that payment has a receipt. The numbers can be traced. I can send the receipt to 30 persons. I can print that same receipt out. It has a serial number. But when you do that again, they will say, come to our office and collect receipts. So that the man at the office can say, although you pay 20,000, you will pay 5,000 before you get this receipt. So this process was not transparent enough. It is a Nigerian thing. It is not if the process is transparent enough, the names are in the public. If you come and meet me and tell me that the Ondo State government has employed you, I say, where is the name? Where did you see your name? Say, don't paste it on one notice board anywhere. Put it on the internet. Every information is on the internet. Put it on a verified handle. Put it on the government website. Let everybody be able to access it. I'm not saying you should access it one pin or another pin. Let everybody begin to be able to access it.
Thank you very much. Now, I would like to ask now, whom do you think could not be all responsible for this racketeering? Is it the government that is not transparent enough, or probably the ministries, department of agencies?
Can I tell you the truth?
Or probably there should be a legislation to back.
There is no form of corruption that can be perpetrated by any government without the connivance of the civil servants. It's even the civil servant that will teach politicians how to steal money. Politicians don't know how to steal money. It is the civil servant in that office that will tell you, ọ̀gá ìlú lẹ fẹ́ gbé jáde ìlú ní tiwa. It is those persons that will now do it. Although I heard that about 4 persons had been given the boots because of this particular matter.
But is that enough? Given the boot is it enough, how can we bring about a permanent solution to this racketeering? Because it's not the first time you're hearing about such thing.
I have said it the other time. The only way to chase out darkness is to switch on the light. The only way to make it impossible for such thing to happen is to let the average Nigerian be able to follow the information from the beginning to the end.
But the question now again is this: in the process of application for the teaching job, then everything was conducted via the internet.
Yes.
Now, why is it that in the course of releasing the names of people shortlisted or people that are qualified or people that are employed, the same process was jettisoned?
Because
I want to ask, how do you think we can now enforce and implement the transparency of employment opportunities?
There must be desire to be transparent before there is transparency.
On whose part, please?
On the part of the government, that the buck stops at the table of the government. But the reality is that civil servants are also co-conspirators in this thing. Sometimes, because in my sojourn in journalism, sometimes I pity civil servants. Sometimes I laugh at them. I pity them because sometimes they connive. A lot of them connive. As far as the feeding bottle, they are also allowed to suck out of the national feeding bottle. They connive with the people in government to carry out this kind of acts. But this particular one that has happened could not have happened without civil servants. Virtually every job in Nigeria now, government job now, is now based on slots. People now sell slots. A particular paramilitary institution, somebody was giving me an information which I have not verified, that they were selling a particular rank for 2 million. Now, Omote Efowo Lakpoto, I'm sorry that I mentioned that particular microfinance bank, but Nigerians know what I mean by that. That child left. In fact, some of us, when we left the institution, we didn't get to touch our transcript for many years because we left the school in debt. You now ask me to come and pay 2 million. How? These are the challenges that we have. The system has not been transparent enough. Let names of, please let us speak that.
Let's repeat the call, please. Hello, good morning. Yeah, good morning. You're on to High Power 102.7 FM Relay Owo. Come again, please. It's all right. Please. Of course. Thank you. Thank you. Of course, I'm with you, sir. Thank you very much. Please, before you call, please, sir, the name again. The name again, please. Thank you very much, Mr. Agbero.
Now, let me quickly respond to the gentleman that called. I have seen civil servants. I have investigated stories about them. They are culpable in this problem. I reiterate that they are culpable. Now, let me give you one example. When David Umahi was made the Minister for Works, this current Minister for Works, he went to the office and discovered that they were arriving at 10:30. One day he instructed that the gate should be locked against them. That day they staged a protest that it should be taken away from their ministry for asking them to come early to work. That was not the first drama he had with them. He got into that office and discovered that there were a lot of hanky-pankies going on. He made attempt to correct them. They turned against him. Now, there have been instances when politicians engage in corruption, and we make attempts to ensure that we investigate the matter and we establish the facts. In fact, it is civil servants that will be stalling. There is an FOI Act. There's an FOI Act, Freedom of Information Act. When you write a letter when you want to investigate something, you need an information. You have a right to write a letter to the government, and you write the same letter to whoever is in charge of that place. They will block you. Recently, I would share an experience with you. It happened in our local government here. A particular organization called Tracker. What Tracker does is that they would look at the budgets, they will look at the project for the year and say, we are investigating if this particular project has been done. They would establish if money has been paid. Now, sometimes they also gather information that are used for research. I made an attempt in this our local government to assess our public health institution in this local government. The civil servants connive together to prevent all of us from finding out if the basic health centers are working. It didn't happen 20 years ago. It happened less than 2 months ago. So if the problems are to be the blames is to be shared, they will take a part of that blame. Now, I went to a particular secondary school in Akure for a seminar last month. Abdulrazak was there, who is the staff of this station. Now, was there. The principal said we can only do the seminar under the condition that we will not take pictures, because he does not want the state of the school to go public, because one, is afraid for his job. Two, because he must have been mismanaging the little impress they are sending to the school for him to repair the school. So nobody should feed us with a one-sided story. There's sufficient blame to go around. We are on the field, we go around. If there are necessity to give names, we will supply names and locations. There is a public health institution in this local government that only has one nurse. The old nurse goes there only twice a week in this local government. So on this station, we will not lie to anybody. If they want location, we will give them.
Thank you very much, Mr. Alaba. Our time is fast spent. We just want us to discuss briefly on the importance of the reintroduction of history. What are we to benefit from the reintroduction of history?
Well, it will help our children to know where we came from, how we got into this mess, and what to do to resolve the mess. I think that is the value of history. Where did we come from? And in this age of identity, where Alejo has begun to call himself Onile, we would all be able to differentiate between a visitor and the true owner of the house. I think I would not say more than that.
Thank you very much, Mr. Alaba Adeyemi, for joining us on the program today, Education Today. It's a very big thank you, sir. And we hope that some other time when we call on you, you'll be readily available to respond to our invitation.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. Like I said, it is on this note that we bring in, unfortunately, we cannot read our beauty of literature today. Like last week, we did an introduction, and that is Things Fall Apart, authored by Chinua Achebe, but we couldn't go further today because of the discussion we had. It has been a very lengthy one, very educating and highly informative. It's on this note that I want to say a very big thank you to every person that has been in one way, that have assisted us in one way or the other, starting from the GM of this great station, Engineer Paul Olotu, the studio manager, MTK, that is as popularly known. Equally, I would like to thank Shegun, that's our ICT expert, the head of programs, Mr. Elijah Olurotimi, and my head of news, Mr. Adeyemi. I want to say a very big thank you to every one of you. I hope that next week will be another time for us to have a very interesting, educative, and most importantly, entertaining Education Today program. My name is AKIN ADEBAYO. Thank you very much for keeping in touch with us. Thank you.